Okay, so the Sony 11mm f1.8 lens has been kind of my default vlogging lens of late compared to my previous Sigma 16mm lens. Because it's small, it's handy, it's light, what else can you ask for? So I've been on a search for the perfect ultra-wide lens, and I've come down to just choosing prime lenses instead of zoom lenses because, well, sharpness, and I get to shoot better in low light. So I came down to this Sony 11mm f1.8, which is good in low light because the aperture is low. I can go as low as I want. If I want extra crispy sharpness, I can always step down to a f5.6 if I want to. If I want more things in frame that are sharp, but because I just want to shoot in low light, and most of the time people can't really tell. I'm shooting right now in a f1.8, and yeah, it's pretty good. So without light, this is how it is. So essentially it just depends on your camera whether it's good in low light as well. So if your camera is not good in low light, having a fast prime lens will help. Like for example, this Sony 11mm prime lens. So what cameras do I use it on? I use it on the ZV-E10, and I also use it on my A7 Mark IV. I use it both for photos and videos, and it has worked out pretty well. Okay, and I kind of just got back from the night exhibition that's happening right now. We visited a couple of places, some ice skating thing, and the Peranakan Museum. A lot of people don't really visit the Peranakan Museum, and because of the exhibition, actually a lot of people came by, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I managed to get a couple of videos and photos as well. So typically when vlogging, you kind of need something that is light, something really accessible, something you can just whip out very fast, and something that you can just keep in your bag. And because of the size of the Sony 11mm, yeah, it makes that possible. And that's why this has become my default vlogging lens, aside from using it for real estate videos and photos as well. And the reason why I'm kind of whispering is because it's at night and everyone is asleep. Yeah. Okay, this is the Sony 11mm. It's quite wide. So right now I'm just shooting on 11mm. No stabilizer, so there's not cropped in or anything. I'm next to street, and it's actually dimly lit, and it's f1.8, so you can really go get some really good low light shots. And yeah, it's pretty far, it's pretty wide. Yeah, it's just because it's wide, you can capture most of this architecture, so it's really good for real estate videos as well. Right now the autofocus is pretty good, it's focusing on my face. So this Sony 11mm f1.8 lens is really good for real estate, vlogging maybe if you want to, or just, well, anything that you need a ultra wide shot. While using this lens, you got to make sure that you don't get too close and up to the wide, because then the warping happens right here. But it's not too bad compared to 16mm where you don't get a lot of warping at the sides, like I mentioned. So when you turn on the active stabilization, it's gonna crop in a bit like this. So this is with the active stabilization on, it crops in quite a bit. So if you actually use the 11mm, it's pretty still okay. If you want to zoom in, you gotta play around with active stabilization. Okay, so this is with the active stabilization on, and I'm walking, and whatever it is, no one should ever walk and talk, because the camera, whether you have the stabilization on, it's going to be very shaky either way. But thankfully there's some stuff like catalyst browse where you can use to stabilize your footage, because on the ZV-E10 and most modern cameras you have gyro data which you can actually use, which I might use. Okay, so now this is without active stabilization. I'm going to go a bit wider. Catalyst browse works with this on the gyro data. Yep. So catalyst browse is actually so good. I actually use it on the RX0, and yeah, it works wonders, man. Yeah, so this is the Sony 11mm lens. It's a f1.8, straight up by Sony. You should use this lens if you need something super wide like this. The Sony 11mm is a very good lens. It's light. It's definitely lighter than the Sigma 16mm lens. The sharpness is very good. Can I tell the difference between this and the Sigma lens? No, not at all. So the 11mm full frame equivalent is, if you multiply by 1.5, it is about 16.5 mm. essentially a 17mm or 16mm. So this lens is really great if you're shooting a lot of real estate, if you're vlogging, and I'll advise that if you want a lens that is wide, just go for the 11mm. Honestly, you can crop in, it doesn't matter. There's nothing much. I just want to keep this very short and sweet and straight to the freaking point. Maybe next video is going to be comparing against the Sigma 16mm lens. And I hope you found this video useful, and thanks for the support, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new here.